The Neo Reality Entertainment brand expands with a relaunch of the Neo Reality Collective Pop Culture News Talk. Your host, Eric Brown, gives his insights and thoughts in the ever-expanding news world of comic books, professional wrestling, gaming, TV, and movies. Be sure to donate to the brand and keep up to date with additional content on YouTube channels such as Neo Reality Entertainment, NRE The Wrestleverse, and NRE Pop Culture Omniverse.
Today's edition of Neo Reality Collective is brought to you by Anchor.fm, a free distribution service podcasting hosting platform that allows you to record your podcast on your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so much more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor.fm app or go to Anchor.fm to get started today. Thank you and enjoy the episode. Welcome everyone to Neo Reality Collective, episode 31. So, I want to put this first part here in a special announcement. So, starting soon, I'm planning to re-upload the original series in audio format, or video format if I'm capable of doing it, on the Apple Podcast site, as part of the Neo Reality Entertainment Podcast Network, which will show you all the when I had the show be a daily format instead of a, at best, semi-weekly format, as much as I try to get back into things. When I had a daily format going on with the show, and it was one episode a day, and there was a lot. This was during the pandemic at the high point, so there was a lot of time to kill around this time, and I have stopped around 50 or so episodes, and I landed a big interview, so to speak, with Steve Orlando at the time. Fun times. But now that things have really altered since then, and I took a hiatus from the podcasting network of the Neo Reality Collective, and I want to launch this as a second series of sorts. Think of it like a comic book rebranding, because of course. And I feel like this format works a lot better now as opposed to the daily process, because at the time I was working on I worked on 2 videos a day, one being a gameplay video or a thoughts video, or being the podcast that I did on my Neo Reality Entertainment channel. So I'm planning to upload the episodes of my original podcast as its own series. I'll try to see if I can upload it elsewhere, but right now I'm looking like it's going to be an Apple Podcast exclusive archive for you to check out all the original project I have in mind and what my progress is. I learned the ropes of this stuff as time went on. Like, I had done podcasting before, but I never really worked on this kind of level of depth and detail, because there were a ton of news I covered daily, and there was a lot of stuff. And there was even when I did comic book openings where I revealed what I ordered, what I got from my local comic shop in Third Eye Comics, shout out to them, and I uploaded that. So yeah, Third Eye Comics and whatnot, those were fun times, and then everything went crazy. The reason why I stopped working on the podcast for a time was, one is because, well, work started coming back up again, and 2, the reason why the reboot happened was because I wanted to move to Anchor and try to start fresh, and 3, the reason why I stopped doing it being a daily show was because I got so exhausted and got burnt out. I burned myself out. No one's to blame for that, and there was no really justifiable reason for me to keep going on this at the time, since the YouTube algorithm had completely decimated my channel because I was variety and not really focusing on a niche. Yeah. YouTube, you gotta get your act together on that. Like, it was so tiresome. So, yeah. So look forward to that re-uploading process. It's gonna take some time. Hopefully I'll be able to get some updates in the coming days. And I also got some reviews planned out, but I want to talk about some news that came out for the last week and trying to move forward again with this as I'm trying to balance with the wrestling stuff and the podcast stuff. and we'll see how things go from here. So let's get right into this. Right after we take our ad break, we're going to cover all the episode content in the next part. So see you soon. I'll see you in a few minutes. Take care. Welcome back, everyone. Let's dig right into the piece of news we got today, because there's a couple. 1. Will Smith resigns from Motion Picture Academy amid the fallout with the Chris Rock incident at the Oscars. Yeah, that happened. After the Will Smith fiasco, I was like, something big's going down with this. Like, yeah. And then when the Academy decided to go around and go investigate into him after his fiasco, he issued an apology that no one believed, because, well, he issued it after it was announced he was being investigated, and you know, assaulting Chris Rock on live television because of a joke that he himself laughed at, but his wife told him that's not funny, and he went and did the most insane way to defend a woman's honor. So yeah, he quickly realized this is not professional wrestling. So Will Smith released a statement saying that he betrayed the trust of the Academy and apologized again for his actions, saying, "The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention and for their achievements, and allow the Academy to get back into the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film." He finished by saying, "Changes take time, and I'm committed in doing to work ensure that I never allow violence to overtake reason." Smith's departure means that he will no longer be able to vote for the awards in official capacity. It does not, however, preclude him from attending the awards or winning an Oscar, so virtually nothing was achieved. Smith's resignation comes amidst the ongoing investigations that will start into his actions on March 27th, which he slapped Chris Rock for after he compared Jada Smith to G.I. Jane, yelling at Rock to "keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." Smith subsequently won the Best Oscar for Best Actor, where he seemed to justify his actions during the whole speech, because that was a great idea. In the wake of the telecast, it was announced that they were pursuing possible disciplinary actions, including the possibility of suspension, expulsion, and other sanctions. The Academy said it asked Smith to leave, but this statement was later debunked. Smith previously apologized, calling his behavior unacceptable and inexcusable. So, yeah, that's it for him. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they start canceling and halting projects for him, because this is kind of a big deal. You assaulted a guy on live global television, and yeah, it's kind of a bad deal. It really is that you did that, regardless of your reasoning. You could have just went back after the show and said, "Look, man, my wife wasn't liking that and whatnot," because now your career is currently in the But yeah, as things progress throughout the Hollywood industry, the Crow reboot's going to happen with the clown from It, the latest It movie, as the lead role. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise, will star in the new take of The Crow from director Rupert Sanders. Sanders has done various live-action films such as Snow White and the Huntsman and Ghost of the Shell, so you know that's a clear sign that this is a disaster waiting. The journey to get The Crow back onto the big screen has been a long one. The first Crow movie, based on the comic book, was released in '94, but when an on-set accident led to the death of the star Brandon Lee. The sequel was released in '96, along with 2 direct-to-videos DVD sequels in 2002 and 2004 and 2005, but a proper film review hasn't materialized since the '90s. Blade director was attached to the reboot before departing. Corin Hardy was tapped to direct the reboot in 2017, with Jason Momoa set to star, but the version 2 failed to materialize after both left the project. So these two are the new latest tackling on the reboot. Perhaps this time it could stick, maybe not. After all, the uncharted movie went through countless directors and stars before finally setting on Tom Holland, director Ruben Fishner, who successfully brought Nathan Drake to the big screen in 2022. So, think of that what you will. Like, do we even, like, was anyone really asking for a reboot? I don't think so. I don't recall. So, yeah, I didn't even think there was good. I didn't even know there was a reboot going on at the time for a while until a few years ago, I think. And I kept thinking, was anyone even asking for one? Like, why? Other than Hollywood greedy. So, anyways, as that goes on, Sony has reportedly laid off 90 people amid shift away from retail as part of their direct-to-consumer marketing over brick-and-mortar sales. According to reports, Sony is shutting down its merchandiser team in the U.S., a group that included individuals whose job it was to connect with retail store staff and prepare them to sell PlayStation products, and other retail marketing jobs were also impacted in the layoffs. Leadership reportedly explained the cuts as part of a global transformation of Sony's sales and business operations. This is just a move away from focusing on retail sales in favor of direct-to-consumer marketing, especially digital sales of games continue to grow and thrive. So at least you're being more honest than WWE is with the budget cut excuse. At least you're saying why you did this instead of saying, budget cuts, we are clearly losing money over keeping these people even though we're making billions and billions and billions of dollars just for existing. Clearly we are struggling. So, yeah. So, also, this is also has yet to comment on the layouts. I'm hoping at least they had a plan. They planned to tell them in advance so they can start getting their bearings straight and prepare to go somewhere else. Or they pulled the WWE move and not told anybody. Or the Activision move where they just said, move all your stuff here, then we'll fire you. So, Jim Carrey. He's considering retiring after Sonic the Hedgehog 2. No! Where will I get my Joseph Biden impersonations? Yeah. He said, well, I'm retiring. Yeah, probably. I'm being fairly serious. It depends. If the Angels brought some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that's going to be really important for people to see, I might continue down the road, but I'm taking a break. It's gonna be sad not to see this man. Also, considering he's Dr. Robotnik, how do you replace that guy as the main villain? Since he's kind of the main villain for Sonic throughout all of time. Now look! Here's the deal. Nope, I just lost it. Oh man. If he does retire... Well, he said he's retiring from acting. Comedian's a little bit different, and I don't know if SNL counts as either acting or being a jokester on there. Meanwhile, Activision Blizzard's deal with Xbox, their acquisition stuff, could have concerns. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, and Sheldon Whitehouse, that's the real last name, were said to have been deeply concerned about the consolidation in the tech industry and its impact on workers. According to a letter sent to the FTC, the senators are worried about the acquisition could cause issues experienced by Activision Blizzard employees to be forgotten or made harder to solve. Well, Microsoft has said, and we can only take their word for it at the moment, that they intend to let Activision Blizzard employees do rise up to make a union. So we'll have to see where that goes from here, but considering the government's knocking act, especially considering how Activision's been handling things, yeah, how about you go ahead and go after Bobby Kotick and then you can focus on this stuff. So, yeah, some are worrying it might make it harder to solve and everything, saying in the senator's letter, saying workers at Activision Blizzard following years of rampant sexual misconduct and discrimination and unfair labor practices have led to calls for greater transparency and accountability in the gaming industry. We are deeply concerned that this acquisition could further disenfranchise these workers and prevent their voices from being heard. Okay, can you talk about the foreign company Ubisoft in France? Since they're also a global entity, therefore you could theoretically, I think, get involved, or would that have been asking too much? As this proposed deal moves forward in the review process, the FTC should assess whether the ways in which these companies have failed to protect the rights and dignity of their workers are driven by the monopolizing power or amount to anti-competitive harms in our labor market. If so, the merger will exacerbate these problems. So, yeah, after the Activision Blizzard controversy broke out, it was like all hell has broken loose. And, yeah. The article also goes back into detail about what's going on, how Bobby Kotick is leaving with a golden parachute instead of being locked away in prison. Since the guy even admitted that he threatened someone death. Voicemail. And then he apologized. And if you can't tell, I'm quoting that. So, yeah. So anyways, Michael Bay. Remember him? The director of Ambulance? Because that had to be super actionified. So... let's see. So apparently Steven Spielberg staged an intervention of sorts with Michael Bay, telling him to just stop at 3. And then he agreed, I'll stop. Then the studio begged him to do a 4th, and then he made $1 billion, and then he said, I'm gonna stop here. They begged me again, I should have stopped, it was fun to do. Bay said in an interview to mark the release of Ambulance, which is due to release next week in America. America! Bay's Transformers series burst out onto the scenes in 2007, the vanguard of the 80s nostalgic boom that would only grow in the years to follow. Bay remembers the first Transformers being a scary but ultimately fun experience, recalling the crew was the show first whether digital effects technology could work yet. It was a fun experience. It made more than $709 million, and that's a lot of movie taking, and a lot of people that have seen it. So... was it a fun experience to do the movie, or was it a fun experience that you made a buttload of money? That kind of comes off as not good. So, yeah, with the last of them being The Last Night in 2017, reviews declined over the course of the series, with critic Roger Ebert among them called them a saga of loud and ugly toys. The series rebounded with 2018's Bumblebee and Transformers Rise of the Beast, set to release in 2023, with Bay is helping to produce both films. I'm passionate about any movie I do, from Pain and Gain to 13 Hours. I like going from big to small. You want to move off, the same thing. Next movie, Ambulance, set to release on April 8th, which is about an action movie of ambulance. I don't know why. So, for those who were worried about family plans for Xbox Game Pass never happening, worry not, they're making a family plan for Game Pass. Yay! As according to reports from Windows Central. Though Microsoft was offered family plans for Xbox Live Gold for many years, Game Pass was a single account subscription. That's all reportedly changing with the family plan that will allow users to share the service across multiple consoles and households. The report states that a higher tier of Game Pass will allow up to 5 other players to access the full library, so long as they reside in the same country as the primary account holder. The new account is expected to make use of the existing family account system used within the services like Office 365. Whether there will separate plans from the Game Pass and whatnot is uncertain at the time, but there is no information regarding pricing, though it's likely to come at a reasonably cheaper price than paying for the subscription individually. At the cost of $9.99 per month, the Xbox Game Pass provides subscribers with a rotating list of games from a variety of publishers, including day one releases of first-party titles at no additional cost. Meanwhile, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate combines the service with Xbox Live Gold for $14.99, giving players access to online multiplayer functionality and monthly free games via Games with Gold. MLB joined MLB The Show 2022, joined on April 5th, along with the point-and-click adventure Chinatown Detective Agency will land on the service on April 7th. They're expected to make it announce the remaining Game Pass releases for April soon, which is already in new stock. Meanwhile, Xbox also backtracked on removing the share to Twitter option because that was a stupid idea. Yeah, why did they do that? Yeah, it did not end well with people, and Microsoft decided to reverse course after the fans objected rather quickly, I'll give them that. So there was much rejoicing. So Obi-Wan Kenobi has been delayed by 2 days. So now they said, okay, we can't give this out in 2 days on our original May 25th day like we were playing an anniversary of, but we're gonna sell it on May 27th. Okay. So yeah, Ewan McGregor will return to the title role alongside Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. And yes, and McGregor said that a series has arrived of a new wave of positivity for the Star Wars prequel, which will be maligned at release. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be that other trilogy that pissed everyone off because of its contempt for the past? Okay. Teaser trailer was released earlier this month, and she gave us a good of what's to come from this limited series. Well, let's hope it doesn't end as badly as the Book of Boba Fett. We all know how that went. But as the industry thrives, we must say goodbye to another relic of the past. Bruce Willis stepping away due to health issues. In the post on Instagram, Bruce Willis's ex-wife and close friend Demi Moore revealed an Instagram post earlier today. To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we want to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but to make it quick, it's impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support. We are moving through this as a strong family unit, wanting to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you, as you do to him. Bruce always says, live it up, and together we plan to do just that. So, yeah, it's a brain disorder that affects the ability for a person's ability to understand and recall written and spoken languages, often as a result of trauma such as brain tumor or stroke. And the family has not shared whether Willis suffers from an underlying disease at this time. Willis also has a couple of multiple projects in post-production, including White Elephant, Vendetta, Fortress Spy, and Fortress Spy's Eye. He was expected to reprise his role as Robert Michaels in Fortress 3, the final film in what was supposed to be a planned trilogy. The movie is currently in pre-production, so Will's retirement leaves its fate unclear, so that sucks. So, Bruce Willis has done a lot of good stuff. Like, he's done The Sixth Sense, the Die Hard movies, he's done Glass, he's been cameoed in tons of movies we've seen. He's been the M. Night Shyamalan stuff. He was one of M. Night Shyamalan's biggest supporters. And as much as people have different opinions on Glass, I absolutely love that saga that he wrote and created. It was just that good to me, along with his meta commentary, I felt. So, yeah. But it's Bruce Willis' time is up, and now we don't know what's going to happen next for him. No idea. So, HBO Max is reportedly working on a prequel to It based on the movie of the successful duology, according to a new report. The new prequel, reportedly titled Welcome to Derry, should the series be greenlit, it will likely delve into the origin of Pennywise the Clown, the demonic clown / spider who terrorizes Derry's children across multiple generations. According to the report, it's unclear whether previous cast members from the films will make an appearance. However, the show apparently has an honest to God's writer room, so make of that what you will. I have no idea what they mean by that. Prequels have been very much the style in HBO Max of recent years. The Planet of Game of Thrones prequel, House of Dragon recently finished shooting, while Batman series featuring Gotham PD has evolved into a story featuring Arkham Asylum instead. In the meantime, It Chapter 2 wrapped the original story in 2019. The director has said that there's a whole mythology to the book that merits exploration. Mythology is something that always has opportunities to explore. It's been on Earth for millions of years, and he's been in contact with humans for hundreds of years every 27 years. So you can imagine the amount of material. It's just, I don't think anyone really was asking for a prequel origin story for the clown. It was probably best to not know what the clown was. Like, it's sort of like how people don't like the idea of the Joker's origin, and then Jeff Johns wrecked it in something that I don't want to get into right now, but allow me to explain. They gave an origin to the Joker. They have a name for him, but they won't say it. And Batman is an enabler, but that's a different subject. But it basically gives you that answer that no one really asked for, because the idea of the Joker is a lot more scarier, not knowing who he is, because anyone could be the Joker. Just like how in The Clown, Pennywise, I don't think no one really asked about his origin. And plus, even if you do this, I don't see how you have an ending plan other than setting it up just for the movies that already happened. Or like, at least Star Wars prequels make sense, and it had something new to tell, showing the fall of everything, instead of saying, oh, well, this is the origin of Pennywise the Clown. But I don't know if anyone really asked for that. I'm like, for Darth Vader, people wanted to see what the origin was. It took longer than it should have, but that's a different matter. Meanwhile, as NFTs and Metaverse stuff collapses in the world, the Bandai Namco is working on Gundam Metaverse. Think of that what you will. Disney CEOs Bob Chapek and Bob Iger reportedly had an extremely awkward falling out. The rift apparently started when Iger stepped down as CEO, but then decided that he would stick around to help in the wake of the pandemic. A crisis of this magnitude and its impact on Disney would necessarily resulted by activity with helping Bob Chapek making the company contend with, particularly since I ran the company for 15 years. According to CNBC, this infuriated him, saying he was furious when he saw the story. According to the three people familiar with the matter, he had not expressed a need or desire for extra help. He wasn't looking for a white knight. It's claimed that Chapek felt that Iger was simply using this as an excuse to stick around. After all, he's had postponed his retirement 3 times at this point, saying he felt as essentially doing it again, leaving him as a hapless second banana. According to people familiar with his thoughts, Chapek was already reporting to Iger, the board's chairman, anyway. Iger served as Disney CEO, overseeing the growth of the company in tremendous ways, such as Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Fox, for billions. I think at this point it's like close to well over 100 billion in total. But despite these huge wins, Disney didn't want to fight on its hands. It was a turning point moment, and said CNBC source close to this situation since Iger's comments to the New York Times. The pair have reportedly been unable to fix their working relationship. This scene has spilled over into the business practice. Chapek has apparently soon began making key decisions about the company's future without Iger's input. This included his decision to out Scarlett Johansson's pay amid disputes over the release of Black Widow. It became clear the executives were speaking with one voice. It was extremely awkward. The tension was palpable. Both Iger and Chapek have stayed silent over this relationship development, but it's thought that the tensions could affect Disney going forward. After all, their differing leadership styles has been a point of contention at the company. Notably, current Disney employees have been angered by Chapek's response to Florida's Don't Say Gay legislation. According to Deadline, this led to Disney staff experiencing the worst week they ever had working at the company. Chapek has since apologized to the Disney staff for not fighting hard enough against it. Meanwhile, Iger took a very public stand against the legislation. Whatever happens, it looks as though Disney has a long way to go back to the track, and Chapek has a lot to prove. Disney shares have plummeted 30% in the last year alone, and the CEO will need to win the company around to his new leadership. Current contract ends in 2023 February for Chapek. So yeah, the Florida bill. You mean the bill that you said should not have been happening, even though you supported it inadvertently by funding the politicians who did support it, and the only way you could have changed everyone's mind was I don't know, how do I say this? How do I say this delicately? Threaten to cut their money off if they vote for it. That could have solved everything. Like, everything. Because politicians love money. So, yeah. Anyways, Andrew Garfield on the Amazing Spider-Man 3 possibility. When asked about this, whether he could give an update on his potential return to the character, he just said, "No update for me. No one's going to believe anything I say ever again, and that's my problem." So, yeah. So, yeah, you can take anything you want from that. So, meanwhile, let's cut to the wrestling side of everything. Promotions want Mike Tenay to come out of retirement. For the professor of WCW and TNA has been retired since 2016, but reports says several promotions are interested in working with Iron Mike Tenay. The English broadcasting team for Triple Mania will be Lenny Leonard and Larry Dallas. At least we don't have to worry about the commentary. Both Dallas and Conan tried to get Mike Tenay out of retirement to do the big show this year, but he declined. Tenay said there's always a chance for him to return, but hasn't felt like it's the right time or place, and is enjoying retirement too much and has no financial concerns. He noted that MLW, GCW, and WWE have all contacted him as of late as far as the possibility of announcing the fourth or two, and to do interviews and documentaries for the other. But he has to turn them all down. Okay, the commentary stuff I get. Why turn down the money offer to just do interviews? Like, if WWE was gonna lock you in, then I totally get that. So, yeah. So, would I like to see Mike Tenay back in the commentary booth? Oh, hell yes. But it's his decision and whatnot. Meanwhile, on the WWE side, Nick Khan announced some pay structure changes for WWE talent. And the report is that Nick Khan announced at a talent meeting that wrestlers will now make additional money from revenue generated through third-party platforms. This is not something to be elated about. They took away something that never should have been taken, and you're being elated about it just gives them the feeling that they can do whatever they want, and they can get away with it. No! What you should have done is scream at Nick Khan and told him, and I quote, "Why did you take it away from us before? We didn't need it taken away. Unless you're going to treat us as employees, and then that's completely different. But we're independent contractors. But you don't want to call us employees because legality, you get more money out of that. You would actually have to take care of your workers." So, yeah. As we move on from BS, AJ Styles has clarified his contract situation, telling Inside the Ropes Alex McCarthy that he didn't sign anything. It was reported that he signed, but now he said, "I had something on my contract where I got to decide, kind of a player option, what I want to do, and we just extended the contract that I already had. Time is running out. As far as AJ Styles is concerned, I'm getting older. The ability to put on great matches is a little bit harder. I don't want to embarrass myself at the same time. I want to get out while I can and still have somewhat of a legacy. I think you're guaranteed that. I don't want to have to work anywhere else. I love to work within WWE, but I don't know if that's going to happen. If I'll have that chance. I like to be a scout because I know we've changed some things around here in WWE. No, you haven't. They took away your third-party rights and you sat on your hands. But at the end of the day, you have to find these, I don't want to call them actors or stuntmen. Yeah, they're definitely actors because you're trying to sell something, except Vince likes to lie to people and say they're not going to do it, then they do it because, oh, the roster's too dumb to sell. You have to find these athletes that you wanted this whole life. Not saying football, basketball athletes can't be great. We've seen it with Kurt Angle, and we know guys coming in from sport, Olympic sport and whatnot can be great. But for someone who has wanted to do this their whole life, they know what is expected of them, and they know what they can do to chase that dream. It's a little different, and I think it would be a little harder for someone who has never watched wrestling before to come to this stage. When your ego's not involved, trust me, I had a little bit of an ego because I did wrestling in high school and college. But when you learn to go, what's the story? That's the most important thing. You have to let go of those egos. They don't matter. They don't sell pay-per-views. We need people to sell the story, and some of these people who have wanted this their whole life know better than anybody. According to Hulk Hogan, Cena, Triple H, your ego does sell pay-per-views. And according to Vince, he's God, so that's a different subject. So, Brock Lesnar lost at WrestleMania, and Lesnar is now unknown at this time, but from reports from Dave Meltzer, take it that what you will, according to Meltzer, he's been booked to appear at WrestleMania Backlash on May 8th and Money in the Bank on July 2nd. So, and that means he will seemingly miss June 5th's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Though there's no word on what we'll be doing at these pay-per-views, although the 44-year-old agreed to wrestle in at least 8 matches as part of the re-signing with WWE. So, can we get more cowboy shit with Lesnar? You're so awesome. So, Miro has re-signed with AEW for another 4 years, and we finally got an explanation why he's been gone outside of the hamstring injury. The report states that according to Fightful Select, that Miro has been pursuing outside interests, most notably a television pilot in New York for CBS. Miro has reportedly been undertaking other film projects during his downtime, while his wife has been undergoing TV work. Signing a 4-year extension with his original AEW set to expire in spring 2022. After debating the company, Miro worked to become top heel in AEW with a run as the impressive dominant champion of TNT defense across AEW TV and pay-per-view, reminding the world just what he was capable of, and reminding us how awesome he is. And as Ring of Honor gets underneath the whole rebirth process under Tony Khan, it has come out that WWE held talks to buy Sinclair to buy a Ring of Honor in December 2021, but talks broke down before a deal could even be agreed upon. And then it turns out Impact were interested in buying Ring of Honor, and then Khan made the announcement. So that derailed all their plans. What exactly Impact would have done is currently unknown, but considering they have the Honor No More stuff going on, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with that. And the deal was only finalized only a couple hours before Tony Khan made the announcement on Dynamite. Now you're probably wondering, wait, but if he could make that deal in time, what would have happened with the big announcement? Well, it's actually quite simple. We don't know, because Tony Khan reportedly had a backup plan that he's planning to announce at a later date. Yeah, that's actually been reported that he has another announcement he wanted to make, but the Ring of Honor stuff took precedent, and when that came up, he had a backup plan if that didn't work out, so he at least had something to fall back on. Way better than other fallback plans that end badly. So, that's about it for the Neo Reality Collective brand today. I'll be soon doing another Neo Reality Collective reviews on some other stuff with Wonder Woman, hopefully, and X-Men Red. I'm gonna try and minimize my comic book reading reviews, and probably will try and do some Succession talk when I can. But I'm right now going to focus on episode content and also focusing on re-releasing the episodes of the original podcast series or dubbed Original Series 001, and uploading that to Apple Podcast and try to see where else I can take this. So this was Neo Reality Collective. Stay tuned for this final ad and this outro, and we'll see you all next time. Aim and take care. Have a good day.
Be sure to donate to the brand and keep up to date with additional content on YouTube channels such as Neo Reality Entertainment, NRE The Wrestleverse, and NRE Pop Culture Omniverse.